We've got a lot to talk about, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Week 7 is right around the corner, and it's shaping up to be one of those games where everything's on the line. I mean, let's be real, this game is make or break for the Raiders. We've already had a rough start to the season, and things aren't looking any easier, especially with the team we're up against. But hey, there's always hope, and I'm here to break down why this Week 7 matchup is still a must-watch for all of Raiders Nation. We've got some big questions that need answering. Can the Raiders bounce back? Will they be able to pull off a win without Davante Adams? What's the game plan moving forward? Buckle up because we're about to dive deep into all the storylines you need to know going into this game, including some of the bright spots we can take away from our recent performances. Let's address the elephant in the room first. This season hasn't exactly been a smooth ride. Sitting at 2-4 isn't where anyone thought we'd be, especially after some of the moves we made in the offseason. The biggest shakeup? Trading away Davante Adams to the New York Jets. That's a huge loss for the Raiders, no doubt about it. Adams was supposed to be the guy, the game changer who could make big plays and give our offense the spark it desperately needed. But now, with him gone, it feels like we're left scrambling to find out who can step up. That's the challenge facing the Raiders heading into Week 7. It's not just about picking up a win. It's about figuring out what the future of this team looks like without one of our biggest offensive weapons. But hey, Raiders Nation, don't lose hope just yet. We've still got some talent on this roster, and while the path forward might look tough, there's always a chance for this team to turn things around. Let's take a closer look at the matchup and break down what we can expect from our squad. Now, let's talk about Aidan O'Connell. He's been dealing with some injury issues and has thrown a wrench into our plans. O'Connell showed some promise early in the season, and his ability to step up when called upon has been commendable. However, injuries can derail a player's development and a team's success. If O'Connell can't go, we'll need to rely on other players to step up. The offense has to find a way to keep moving forward, and it's crucial that our backup players are ready to take on the challenge. It's a test of depth and resilience, and every player needs to be prepared to give it their all. In Week 7, the Rams better be ready because Crosby is coming for them. Even though our record doesn't show it, Crosby's been one of the most consistent players in the league this year. He's a one-man wrecking crew, and if the Rams' offensive line doesn't tighten up, Crosby could single-handedly disrupt their game plan. So if you're looking for something to get excited about going into this game, Crosby's performance is definitely something to keep your eye on. But here's the thing. Crosby can't do it all by himself. We need other guys on the defense to step up too. It's time for players like Divine Deablo and Bilal Nichols to show up in a big way. If we can get pressure on the Rams quarterback and force some mistakes, this could be the turning point the Raiders need to get back on track. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the offense. Losing Davante Adams hurts, no doubt about it. But you know what they say, football is a team sport. And while Adams was a huge part of our offense, the reality is that we've got to move on and figure out how to make plays without him. The question is, who's going to step up? We've got a couple of names to watch heading into this game. First up is Brock Bowers. This guy has been absolutely electric this season. In our last game, he had 10 receptions for 93 yards. That's no small feat, especially considering the fact that defenses know we're going to be targeting him more without Adams on the field. But Bowers isn't the only guy who can make things happen. Alexander Madison is another player who showed some serious promise in the run game. He came close to 100 yards with 23 carries for 92 yards, and that's exactly the kind of production we need to see more of. If Madison can get going and the offensive line can open up some running lanes, that's going to take a lot of pressure off our quarterback and help keep the Rams' defense honest. But let's be real, the offense still has some serious issues. One of the biggest problems? We don't have a solid second option at wide receiver. Right now, we're relying on Trey Tucker and DJ Turner to step up, but they're not exactly striking fear into opposing defenses. We need more size, more speed, more playmaking ability on the outside. Until we figure that out, it's going to be tough for the Raiders to generate the kind of explosive plays we need to win games. Before we get too deep into Week 7, let's take a quick look back at what happened last week. The Raiders had a chance to get a big win, but it just didn't happen. There were a few things that really stood out as problem areas. First off, let's talk about play calling. Luke Getsy, our offensive coordinator, made the decision to call the plays from the booth this time around, but honestly, I didn't see much of a difference. Yeah, maybe there was a slight improvement, but it wasn't the kind of game-changing adjustment we were all hoping for. At the end of the day, we're still seeing the same issues: conservative play calling, questionable decisions in key moments, and a lack of creativity when it comes to getting our playmakers involved. One decision that really rubbed me the wrong way was the field goal late in the game. We were down 20, 12, and instead of going for it, we settled for a field goal. I get that there was a penalty that pushed us back, but come on, you need a touchdown in that situation. Playing it safe just wasted time. And at 2-4, this is not the time to play it safe. So here we are, week 7. The Rams are coming into this game with a 1-4 record, and they're not exactly looking like a powerhouse. They're dealing with injuries to key players like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and their offense has been sputtering. This is a winnable game for the Raiders, no doubt about it. But just because it's winnable doesn't mean it's going to be easy. The Rams are coming off a bye week, which means they've had extra time to rest up, make adjustments, and get healthy. They're going to be looking to right the ship just as much as we are. For the Raiders to have a shot, we've got to execute on both sides of the ball. The Rams' offensive line has been shaky at best this season, and if Maxx Crosby can get into the backfield, it's going to make life a whole lot harder for their quarterback. We need to see more blitzes, more pressure, and more aggressive play calling on defense. If we can force some turnovers, that's going to put us in a great position to win. Look, we know what the situation is: no Adams, a shaky offensive line, and a lack of playmakers on the outside. But that doesn't mean the offense can't figure it out. We need to see more creativity from Luke Getsy and more balance in the play calling. Run the ball with Madison, get Bowers involved early and often, and take some shots downfield. Playing it safe isn't going to cut it anymore. This is the big question. We know Bowers is a stud, but who else is going to step up? Whether it's Tucker, Turner, or someone else, we need someone to emerge as a reliable option in the passing game. If we can find that guy, it's going to open up a lot more opportunities for the offense to make play soaky. Let's say we pull off the win in week 7. Where does that leave us? At 3-4, the Raiders would still be in the hunt, but the road ahead is tough. After the Rams, we've got a brutal stretch of games coming up, starting with the 6-0 Kansas City Chiefs. And let's be honest, the Chiefs have owned us in recent years, especially with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. After that, we've got a road game against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have one of the most explosive offenses in the league. And then we take on the Miami Dolphins, who will likely have Tua Tagovailoa back by then. That's a murderer's row of games. And if we're going to make a run, it's going to take a near-perfect performance from here on out. But here's the thing. Football is unpredictable. Maybe we can catch the Chiefs on an off day. Maybe the Bengals slip up. Anything can happen. And that's why you play the games. Raiders Nation, this season isn't over yet, but we're going to need some serious magic to turn things around. Week 7 is going to tell us a lot about this Raiders team. Are we still in the fight, or is it time to start thinking about next year? If we win, we're still in it. If we lose, well, things could start to get real ugly real fast. No matter what happens, one thing's for sure. Raiders Nation is going to ride or die with this team. We've been through tough seasons before, and we'll get through this one too. Let's hope the Raiders can take a step back now to take 2 steps forward later. So what do you think, Raiders Nation? Can we pull off the win? Let's see what happens this Sunday.